Hi, it's Glenn Dietzel here, the editor-in-chief of Lifestyle Entrepreneur Magazine and the CEO of Awakened. NewGuruModel.com is one of our parent websites where we teach entrepreneurs today globally how to command maximum fees and royalties for high-end programs and services. Hi, it's Glenn Dietzel here, and I am, as I said, the editor-in-chief. And I mentor today to the world's highest paid coaches, consultants, advisors, and experts. And on our Business Breakthrough Google Hangout episode today, what I'd like to talk to you is about the event industry today. Now, I'm going to share with you some statistics. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my background, and I want to show you where everything is going today with the event model. Now, when we talk about events, we're talking about the seminar industry, the conference industry, the event industry today, and I want to reveal some truths to you as what I've seen and experienced, what I see not only because I'm in the industry and privy to a lot of what goes on, especially the negative side of the industry, but I'm also privy to it because of the clientele that we've attracted, clients that have come to us globally as to seek refuge, and us as a trusted resource to them to help them position themselves and execute in today's marketplace. So I want to talk to you, start off today with why the event industry is broken. Secondly, I want to give you 3 principles on leveraging your own business or company, whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur that's looking at building your own high-end conferences. And you will, if you've been a follower of us for any length of time, you know that you've got to have high-end programs and services to survive in today's marketplace. Not just survive, but thrive. So I want to give you 3 principles around that. I also want to share with you what I've learned and gained being involved in this industry for the last 12 years, literally being thrown into it and working with clients that are heavily involved in the industry, and also share with you a really cool model to help you leverage the biggest trend that I believe is going on when it comes to the event industry. And so I'm going to make some forecasts for you today so that you can leverage the realities of today's business world. The realities have changed a lot since I started and grew up in business. We started our company as a startup 12 years ago. I'm proud to say that we have accelerated and continue to accelerate in today's marketplace. We've passed the 10-year growth mark. Very few entrepreneurs, business owners ever get to 10 years, and we've done it because of some principles that I'm going to share with you today. When I started in business, the event industry was huge. And when we talk about events, we're talking about conferences and seminars. So I'm going to use those interchangeably because I believe that they all reference a point in time when it was possible to have a million or multi-million-dollar day. Just the other day, I had somebody who we were vetting for a one-on-one high-end training programs who mentioned that the person really wanted to do high-end events. And I said to the person that, and I will protect that person's identity due to the confidentiality and the integrity of our processes that we have in place in vetting clients. But I was very upfront with that client and just said, the event industry today is broken. In fact, as I said here, we're going to start off with this foundational comment that the event industry or the conference industry or the seminar industry is hugely broken today. And yes, there are a few companies that are making it. By and large, most companies have fallen by the wayside. The ones that are still running the event model, the way that they were running it based on companies still today thinking that we live in the information age when we don't. Their communication is really bad. Most of these events is just, especially the large ones, are just motivational type events where people get excited about the possibilities of what's possible for their lives and their futures. But at the end of the day, there's no assistance on implementation and really truly taking a look at their business as a company, as a CEO of their own corporation. So the model today is broken, and in most cases, it's left a lot of companies today broke. They've gone under. The CEOs of the companies are struggling mightily, and because the event model has some significant flaws. And the number one flaw that the event model has then is the fact that there is no assistance with implementation or execution. Secondly, that people really aren't leveraging the advisory era where people want assistance on focus and acceleration in business. So I want to share with you my background, if you will, here for a couple of moments on what I've seen in the industry, and share with you from the standpoint of why I think the seminar industry is broken. And from that, I'm going to give you 3 principles of what we call the intensive model, and the model that you should seriously consider assisting and regrouping, if you will, or transforming your programs and services into an intensive model that I'm going to show you today. As I mentioned, when I started in the industry, it seemed like everybody was doing events, and this is going back 12 years ago, 11 years ago, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Then 2008, 2009 happened, and the industry collapsed. Few companies have grown through it. Very few have been able to really grow and leverage themselves, because the realities of the marketplace have changed, and changed hugely. And if you want to command maximum fees and royalties for high-end programs and services, you need to understand this. I come out of the educational background. My classroom, as I'm going to show you today, is a classroom setting. It's not a classroom like I worked in when I was in education, but it's a classroom setting that I've created that's very strategic to leverage the realities of the recommendation age or the advisory-based era. So coming out of the educational field, I'm a huge proponent on education and teaching people. I believe, as I mentioned, modeling is the number one way that we learn. So as you start rethinking and retooling your own, maybe a division within your company, or a profit stream for your company, or a core component of your company, or a training division within your company, when I show you some statistics today, you're going to realize why you need to rethink the training that you're currently doing. So coming out of the educational field and witnessing so many clients coming to us that have spent tens of thousands, albeit some of our clients have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in going to events and investing in programs that at the end of the day really don't offer much. So what is it that's going to work today? And the model that I would espouse, and again, this comes from my experience, so you need to be aware of that. However, as an insider in the industry, especially pertaining to high-end programs and services, we've spent a lot of money of knowing what's going on and perfecting the systems that we use today with our own clients. So I want to share with you our intensive model. So it's not a seminar, it's not a conference, and it's not an event. It is a full-blown intensive experience, and I believe the best way that you can leverage these experiences, if you will, are to experience what I'm going to teach you. So let me just share with you here I'm going to share with you just a few pictures here to set the scene. This is our intensive model. This is we're getting ready for summer at the Canadian Lake Home. And this is our business acceleration intensive, where clients come in from all over the world. They fly into Detroit or Flint if they're coming in domestically, because we're an hour away. And if they're flying in internationally, they fly into Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And our people coming in, top flight entrepreneurs all over the world, are getting access to not only cutting edge systems and tools that we use for our own company and that I teach and give to my clients, so they get a chance to really accelerate in business, but they get a chance to experience a really cool setting. And this is the Canadian Lake Home. And in fact, this is one of the pictures here from a kayak and me kayaking on Lake Huron, which is on Lake, which is on where the Canadian Lake Home is located. So what do we, when I'm talking about this intensive model, it's not an event, it's not a seminar, and it's not a conference. Your question should be, well, Glenn, what do you mean by then this intensive model? Okay, so I want to share with you 3 principles of the intensive model right now. And you want to write these down, because I see so many well-meaning entrepreneurs today that simply, man, as much as they want to grow their company, they're making, I've used this concept before, that people would rather spend money on bad advice than good advice. People would rather spend money on bad advice for good advice. Well, let me give you an example. You might be saying, Glenn, what do you mean by that? Well, bad advice would be, in a day and age where you've got to be a fast fish, bad advice would be buying a book. Now, I'm not against buying books. Hear me clearly. But buying a book from the standpoint that people think that they can execute with a book, and you can't. It's plain and simple. You need more than a book. Let me give you another example of why people invest in bad advice as opposed to good advice. And this is, again, so many of these things I was doing myself. People would rather invest in going to events and getting a rah-rah message, and as opposed to doing their due diligence around what is it that their business really needs. And I want to help you do your due diligence, if you will, and in business. So the first concept that you need to understand, and why the intensive model is so powerful, is it's either you grow fast or you die super fast. You either grow fast or die super fast. Either way, speed has to be your competitive advantage. And if speed doesn't become your competitive advantage, speed will work against you. Okay, so let me repeat that again. Speed needs to become your competitive advantage, or speed will work against you. Now, let me further elaborate on that. Today's market, as I've mentioned many times, and as you probably should note, again, it's not the big that eats the small, but it's the fast that consumes the slow. And the way in which the internet is changing, and I've been online for 12 years, having grown our company, and clients love our systems because they integrate offline, online in the most harmonious fashion, in the most accelerated approach to truly grow and scale your advice, following some really cool systems and tools. And one of those systems is our intensive system that teaches our clients how to make speed their competitive advantage. Because if you don't know how to make speed your competitive advantage, the opposite of this is that speed will work in your will work against you. In other words, those companies that know how to implement faster than you, that are willing to make sizable investments in their companies, will simply beat you in the marketplace today. And that's just the simple reality of today's marketplace. That's why you need to know how to master high-end programs and services, and a consultative process. And I'm doing a special boot camp on that tomorrow evening, and I'll give you, well, actually it's tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, depending on where you live. but I'll give you a shout out here for that. newgurumodel.com/. It's a boot camp. newgurumodel.com/bootcamp. And I'm going to reveal one of our templates for our 10-step consultative process to land high-end paying clients. All right? So you've got to be a lot more strategic, and you've got to think differently. You've got to be able to literally understand the importance of doing what others don't do, can't do, or wouldn't think of doing. So the first principle I want to share with you around our intensive model is, again, grow fast or die super fast. Grow fast or die super fast. All right? Secondly, successful companies transition on the fly. Successful companies transition on the fly. So I'm speaking here to top flight entrepreneurs that are vetted by me, that come into our one-day business acceleration intensives. They're keen on understanding how to transition their company and position themselves among all their competitors in the marketplace. So particularly, they're tired of spending all their time, effort, and money promoting a book or their services where they're trading time for money. You know, $200 an hour, $500 an hour. You simply can't grow a company. It doesn't give you speed. And the other kind of client that comes into our one-day intensive wants to be an expert, but doesn't want to have to write a book. And that's the power of our coaching and co-branding program that we teach. So the third principle then around the intensive model, and when we talk about teaching, we're talking about teaching from the standpoint of doing, so that you can ultimately do what you really need to be able to do to grow your company, and that's modeling is the number one way that we learn. Modeling is the number one way that we learn. So if you want to transition quickly, to make speed your competitive advantage so it's working for you, not against you, you need modeling. And that's where, you know, books are of no use. That's where the traditional event, seminar, conference model is of no use. Even though you can get some great advice, I'm not saying that you can't. But the reality of the day is, what are you doing on the implementation side? What are you doing right now for the rest of your day to set yourself apart and execute in a way that your competitors aren't, or haven't thought of, or they would never even think of doing? Because you're a lot more strategic in the way that you implement. And that's crucial in today's marketplace. So those are three principles around the intensive model. And the intensive model is so much more powerful than the event or the seminar or the conference model. Why? Because as the model implies, and as I give a friendly warning to everybody when they come into the Canadian Lake Home, that the one-day intensive will be intense. So whether clients are coming in and hiring me out one-on-one for a day, or whether they're coming in to take a look at what we're doing and advocating around commanding premium royalties, and that's what my clients really love, are the royalties around their advice. This gives me an opportunity to help them, A, build speed as their competitive advantage. Secondly, transition on the fly. And you can't transition on the fly reading a book and doing all the other costly mistakes that so many people are falling victim to today. And thirdly, you need to know you want to be able to model. And if you're going to model, you might as well model the best, right? So the question begs itself then as to, why would top flight entrepreneurs come to the Canadian Lake Home? Why? Why would they spend an entire day flying in domestically into Detroit or Flint, which we're an hour from, Michigan, or flying into Toronto if they're coming in internationally? It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Because number one, they've vetted and they spent time being educated by us. And taking a look at what we're doing, our track record, our Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts, our Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine, the massive traction that we've created because we've been in this industry now for 12 years. And many people look at me as a pioneer in positioning high-end programs and services away from an ROI perspective, as important as that is, right? We all want ROI, return on investment, but more importantly, ROIT, return on invested time. We've been talking about the importance of building your own intellectual property for probably the last 6 to 7 years, because this is the IP age. This is the day and age where you can command a lot of money if you know how to position and execute your company in a highly strategic fashion. So people come into a one day because they want to see what we're doing, number one. Number two, I tell them to have their phones ready because they're going to be taking a lot of pictures because we go very, very quickly, and I show them our processes, our systems, from how we generate leads, our positioning, to how we close deals, and we've got all kinds of tools and systems. I'm going to be sharing one tomorrow afternoon on our bootcamp page, newgurumodel.com/bootcamp, which is our 10-step consultative process. Why it's so powerful? It's the only process that I know that works in the recommendation or the advisory age, with you positioned as the trusted advisor. So I'm going to share and flip a lot of things like I do. We flip the business funnel, right? And clients love that. So clients also come in because they want to see how we flip the funnel. They want to meet me. They want to meet my wife and or our kids. They want to see what my company looks like, what my business looks like. They want to take a look at our coaching and co-branding program, which we hold that very close because of the amount of money that I've invested in, not just in our company time and legal time, but the cost to my company in terms of developing some pretty cool systems to replicate yourself over and over and over again in multiple markets, where you get to co-brand with the top coaches, consultants, trainers, your own clients, which is highly strategic. So people, they come in for business reasons. On personal reasons, most people come into the Canadian Lake Home, and for our summer at the Canadian Lake Home at the end of July, they're coming in for a day of just getting away from their business. A day when they have some specific tasks to work on as they come in. A day for each person to begin to chart a new course for their business and play big, right? It's either play big or go home. A day to challenge their assumptions about success. A day to see how a real life consultant, who is not an armchair coach like so many people are today, but whose passion is coaching and consulting and training, run my company, and you have access to so many tools and systems that we give our clients. And so it's a really, really good day, and it's a great day for me to help people make the best decisions for their business. And clients also like it too because they get a chance to network with top flight entrepreneurs coming in. And our July intensive is probably everyone just keeps getting better. The highest caliber of coach, consultant, trainer that we've ever had, and we've had former vice presidential candidates. We've had consultants to two U.S. presidents come in. We've had clients that are billionaires come in. Unbelievable. And then we have people that are just starting in the venue of entrepreneurship. So why the intensive model that we do is so powerful is it reaches multiple markets to help you gain the greatest traction in business. And it's a day that you can just sit and fully concentrate on your own company with advice that clients invest $25,000 to come in for a one-day intensive, or my inner circle clients invest $70,000 to work with me directly one-on-one. So it's an amazing opportunity for those that are successful in our vetting process. So let me share with you what else happens at the Canadian Lake Home, because you're going to want to see this. These are a few more pictures of some of our evening pictures, what goes on Lake Huron. Tons of really nice yachts come by. As I mentioned, some of the top sunsets in the world. A barbecue, a fire in the evening, and just a really cool venue to help clients execute at the highest level. I want to share with you 3 statistics right now on why our intensive model is the model of the future. When I say the model of the future, I mean the model right now that's really going to continue to assist you to grow your company in a proven, measurable manner. First of all, according to a Forbes recent study, the coaching industry is a $100 billion plus industry. The coaching industry is so huge, and I could spend a lot of time with you sharing with you all kinds of industries that have hit $100 billion. This industry is huge, and on other Google Hangouts, I've shared with you over 150 different coaching industries today that I'm aware of that could leverage this. And our model around our intensive model, clients understand this, and people and entrepreneurs and ordinary people that come in from all over the world understand that there is something significant going on in the marketplace. The problem is most people don't know how to leverage, right? Don't we all feel that? You know, we kind of kick ourselves if we didn't get in on Google's initial IPO or Apple's initial IPO, right? And we kick ourselves because we constantly feel like we're missing something, or we're missing being at the forefront of what's going on in the market. And if we could just leverage a trend. Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a massive trend right now that you need to be aware of. And number one is the coaching industry is huge. The problem is that most people are using a coaching model that's outdated, that maybe worked in the information age. And if it did in that age, it still just violated your value and caused you subconsciously to evaluate your advice on the lowest rungs of the price ladder. My question to you is this: are you right now spending more time on low-end programs and services or higher-end programs and services? What's your conversion process? How are you leveraging an intensive approach that's unparalleled in your marketplace? What are you doing that's unparalleled in your industry? What are you doing to leverage the greatest trends in the marketplace today? All right. So you need to understand you've got to be at the forefront of a burgeoning trend. The coaching industry is huge. Now, let me give you another study. This is an Intuit study, and it's a study that came out in the last year. And the researchers pointed out, or have forecasted, that by 2020, 40% of Americans will be freelancing. 40% of Americans will be freelancing by 2020. Now, I don't know about you, but that's amazing news. And it's amazing news if you are a coach and you really want to leverage this market. And even better, if you want to develop a training program that leverages this huge shift away from the corporate world to people going off on their own and working on a contractual basis in a freelancing style with a company or with other entrepreneurs, or even more importantly, turning their freelancing business into a full-blown business. And this is so big. If the coaching industry is a $100+ billion industry right now, with where everything is going with freelancing, it's going to turn into a $1 trillion industry very, very quickly. And part of that $1 trillion industry is not about events, seminars, and conferences. It's about something that's a lot more intimate. That's in line with the realities of the advisory era, the transparent era, the day and age when businesses that are transparent are the businesses and companies and CEOs that win. And so my question to you is this: The training industry is growing leaps and bounds. The training industry is growing leaps and bounds. I could share with you a lot of different studies that have showed the training industry, but I believe, and I'm not going to quote any of them because I think they all are not really recognizing the power that is there for entrepreneurs when they're not just trading time for money. And that's the problem with how the training industry is measured. It's measured by companies trading time for money. And that's the power of our coaching and co-branding program, because it's not just training time for money. It's growing exponentially your training company or division, because you've got the proven systems and tools to do that. That's not licensing and not franchising. So those are 3 trends that I want to make sure that you understand and leverage. The coaching industry, it's a $100+ billion industry and growing. By 2020, the number of freelancers in the U.S. alone is going to be 40% of the American population. Now let's add in the rest of the Western world, where all the research shows the greater increase in freelancing in my own home country in Canada and other countries around the world. There is a huge trend going on. Question to you is this: how are you going to stand out with this huge trend? How are you going to grow your company where you can make speed your competitive advantage, where you understand that if you don't make speed your competitive advantage, it's going to work against you, where you want to be able to transition where your company is right now on the fly to leverage speed? All right. And let me just share with you a little bit here then of our intensive model. This is our last one-day intensive. And as I mentioned, people bring in their cameras and their smartphones because they know that they're going to be ready, because we cover so much. And that is our Omega Mind Intensive, our one-day business acceleration intensive. And just as the URL says right here, newgurumodel.com/one-day. If you would like more information on that, you need to definitely go to that page. Each of the prior intensives that I've done have sold out within 24 hours. We are just about ready to release a few tickets that we've held back for our for people that are just checking us out, for people that are feeling entrapped by overthinking, or they've gone to other conferences, seminars, events, and you realize that model, you see the inherent flaws within that model. And so we've aligned ourselves due to the integrity of the entire process and the fact that we do have several thousand people on an early notification list, because we have so many people coming to us from our magazine, our Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine, etc., that we want to try to be as equitable as possible. So giving you an opportunity to go to newgurumodel.com/one-day, newgurumodel.com/one-day, ONEDAY, newgurumodel.com/one-day, and get yourself on the early notification list so you can jump in on the opportunity. And there it is. You'll see it, newgurumodel.com/one-day right here. And if I go back a slide, I'll show you the URL there a little bit better. So you see it, newgurumodel.com/one-day. And instead of just talking to you about the new intensive model and the future of high-end events, I figure I need to show you. And it's one thing to show you like I am right now. It's another thing to experience it and see for yourself the genius of this. And you're going to leave like everybody does, absolutely blown away by the process and the integrity of the system that has allowed us to grow so quickly and allowed our clients to grow so quickly. So that is the future of high-end events. We started looking at the why the event seminar conference model is broken. Secondly, I gave you 3 principles around growing your company. I gave you reasons both professionally and personally why people would decide to come to a one-day intensive that you do and that we do. And I gave you and showed you some of what goes on at Summer at the Canadian Lake Home, which is our one-day business acceleration intensive at the end of July of this month. So anyways, please take these concepts, make them yours, and don't fool yourself. These concepts can't become yours own unless you learn how to implement them in the marketplace, because that's where where active learning truly happens, in the market. I look forward to our next one-day intensive live. Will be in 2 weeks. Next week I have our 3-day Omega Mind intensive, so clients will be in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If you're watching, one of our clients that will be in for the 3-day intensive at the Canadian Lake Home. Look forward to seeing you, maybe for the first time, or as you revisit in our quarterly intensives that we do, where you get a chance to leverage our systems for your own company. So I look forward to our next live intensive. Next week, I will show you, give you access to one of our top intensives that we've just done recently, and I look forward to doing the next live intensive in 2 weeks. Have a great day, everybody, and make the content that we covered yours.